Hi-Rez and Smite will stake their claim in this amazing and awesome world that is competitive gaming. A lot is on the line for each of these teams, and they have fought hard to get here.
Jack is still alive. Whirlpool down this. Best it's down. Dignitas takes the fight.
Amazing play.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Smite. This is the battlegrounds of the gods.
Robotic delivery on her, gets away with a disperse.
Some damage on the best. Stone Shield prevents almost all of the Fearless. Right.
Shadow keeps juking. Real can't find the hit. Shadow's still alive.
He's fighting for his line. He's fighting for the championship. He's fighting for everything he stands.
All right, we'll be ending in the next 10 seconds or so.
It's their game to lose.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 62 of the Smite Update. My name is Octane Pro, and joining me tonight we have Hindu Man and Ionic. How's it going, gentlemen?
How's it going? I'm doing
not
good.
So bad.
Good deal, good deal. Well, folks, thank you guys very much for joining us tonight. Usual that we will go ahead and have F-Dot hanging out, but we don't have him tonight. He's actually still hanging out in Atlanta. He went down to the event down there. And so we'll go ahead and bring him in. He might be calling in tonight. We'll have to definitely see if he does. He might call in on his way back. He may not. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Those of you guys checking out the Smite Update for the first time, this show is very much comprised of a few different sections. First section, community news. Then we have community emails. On top of that, we have esports update. And then finally, just talking about the latest patch coming out here. So before we go ahead and jump into things, I'll ask you guys, I'll shoot over to you first. Hindu, what have you been up to in Smite recently, man?
Nothing. It's been amazing. I had a week off. It was the greatest week off in existence. I've never felt so unpressured, you know?
Yeah.
Other than that, no, just playing games and hanging out on my channel with my viewers. Nothing more than that.
Okay.
I've decided Legendary Adanos is next on the cards, though. Not
okay.
because of Devios. Devios copied me. I'm just going to put that out there now. And if you don't believe that, Devios subbed to me and then played well at finals, which we'll talk about later. That's because he subbed to me and he saw my Adanos plays. Other than that, no, not much. I'm pretty sure, though, Ionix, had a bit more of an eventful weekend.
Yeah, I bet he has. Ionic, what about you? What have you been up to in Smite recently, huh? You just got back, right?
Yeah, I just got back from Atlanta to playing in the kickoff LAN. I left Thursday, and I just got back this afternoon at like 1 p.m.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll get more into that, guys. Those of you guys, big esports fans, we will be talking a lot about the NA kickoff LAN moving forward here within the next few minutes or so. Before we dive in, I want to remind people that the audio version of this podcast and show is available on iTunes and also on your Android platforms as well. So make sure you guys go out there and search for it on iTunes and Android, Smite Update, and you guys will go ahead and find it there. You can download the audio-only version. Also, a reminder, you guys, we will be giving away a 800 gem code tonight on the show. We will probably be doing it in about 20 minutes or so make sure you guys stay tuned. It will be out on the Smite Update Twitter, so I'll go ahead and post that in chat. Go out there, follow that Twitter, and we'll be posting that code live directly on that Twitter account moving forward here in a little while. So let's go ahead and jump into community news. We'll talk a little bit about there before we jump into things, go over a few things. Actually got an email from a guy. His name is Gary, and he was actually letting me know that he's actually started a new show for Smite and kind of wanted some, put it out there. So, of course, I definitely enjoy marketing, for other people that are up and coming, doing things for the community. And he's starting a new show called Ranked Review. And kind of his catchline there is, feel like you're stuck in Ranked, feel like you are dominating in kills every game but still losing, not sure when to rotate. Then you're an excellent candidate for Ranked Review. And so this guy is going ahead and pretty much basing a show directly around individuals' ranked gameplay and asking people to submit their ranked games, and then he's going ahead and reviewing them, airing it live and stuff like that. So I think this is pretty sweet because I know, Hindu, you do something very similar to this, like on your own stream, correct?
I did the same, but I'm more than happy for more people to do it.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
More people doing it and offering help is great. So
yeah, so I will post the link in chat where this gentleman will be airing this type of show that he's been putting together and working on. And feel free to go. Hey, I can't highlight it. I'm like having issues there. There we go. Go ahead and follow this guy on Twitter, and then go ahead and check this out. I think this is a great thing to be added to the scene. A few last things here for community news. There wasn't really a lot recently. But I tried to get what I could. And a guy actually put together a VGS poster. And it's a pretty cool thing. I'll post the Reddit post in chat. It is, for those of you guys like looking to like print something out or to have a poster made, it's literally all the VGS commands currently right now. Quick and easy to reference. Someone like yourself, I guess, Yannick, kind of memorized the VGS command pretty easily back in the day, I would assume, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I pretty much, well, the ones I use the most often, which is like probably 75% of the VGS commands, I have them memorized, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me, I don't have, I mean, I could say I have the standard ones that, like, I started out with in Smite, which was kind of like your, enemy missing, ganking lane, be right back, stuff like that, attack, Gold Fury, attack Fire Giant, but I don't really know a lot of the, should I say, like, the filler ones, like the taunts, the jokes.
I learned oops today.
Yeah, that's right. I learned, what did I learn today? Oh, what was it? Something about, like, was it VRS? Like, stay safe or something like that? Or what is it? Something safe. But yeah, I checked that one out today and was like, oh, okay. That's a little different. So that was kind of, oh, save yourself. That's what it is. VRS.
Why would you ever want them to save themselves? Sacrifice yourself. That's what should be a real one. That's what we're all thinking. Sacrifice yourself. That's what they need to do.
That's right.
Put that one in there.
That's right.
No one has a VGS for that.
I know. I mean, I still enjoy VGS, even though I'm using a lot of the Curse client and stuff like that. Yannick, what do you think of the Curse client? I talked to Hindu about it when it first came out. What are your thoughts on it? Do you find yourself using it or no? Still there?
Sorry, my headset unplugged again. It keeps doing that.
So what do you think about the Curse client?
I think the Curse clients is cool, especially as a support player when I'm queuing ranked. Communication on all your CC abilities is really like key. So I think the Curse client definitely helps out, and every single person I ran into on the Curse client is really nice. So I'm glad they added into it into the game.
Yeah, I've had a lot of like fun with it, to be honest with you, just having that voice option available. I have noticed not everybody uses it. It's kind of hit or miss with some games. Have you noticed that too, Hindu?
What, with how many people use it?
Yes, yeah, correct.
It's kind of 50-50. I mean, in normals, no one ever uses it, but I'm a casual scrub most of the time. But when you play ranked, yeah, if you get 3 on it, you're kind of good. If you get more, it's brilliant. Yeah. But then with being Hindu, man, like I've noticed that people notice me and they're like, "Oh, are you getting on Curse?" I'm like, "I'll come on if the whole team is on." Just to make sure I get a good rank game,
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, it works from there. So, yeah, I mean, most of the time you get like 3, including yourself.
Yeah.
No, and it's very rare you get the full 5, honestly, at scrub level where I am, which is gold 1.
I find more people using the Curse client in ranked than in casual. Like, I feel like people like see the full value in it and using it there for sure. Just what I've kind of found on from my perspective.
Pretty much the same, yeah.
Yeah. Moving from there. A few last things here before we jump into some emails and move forward from there. So we have the EU Pro League Smite kickoff LAN. They actually put up a really cool slideshow of a ton of images from there. I think I spotted a wild Hindu in there with some of that picture reel. I will post the URL in chat. This was from Hi-Rez Studios. Those of you guys that want to take a look and didn't have a chance to watch it, there are some great pictures there. The studio still amazes me from the EU event, to be honest with you.
Really good.
Like, that's, still is so sweet. On top of that as well, if you guys didn't get a chance to take a look, they had a Smite dev update that came out that was actually at the NA Pro League kickoff with Adanos, Brad, who does the production, and same thing with Peccyz, who does the production too. And they kind of just gave a quick little update right before the actual NA event started. So I will include that link in chat. A lot of videos this week, to be honest with you guys, from what I've found. So the last thing I wanted to kind of jump into, which we've started doing, is Streamer of the Week. And last week it was actually Ionic. I don't know if you realized that we were promoting your stream on the show.
Yeah, Divios actually, Divios nudged me in Mumble, in Dolby, and he was like, "You're the Streamer of the Week." I was like, "What?"
yeah, for sure. So I'm actually going to throw this one. I haven't picked someone yet for Streamer of the Week, and so I want to hand it to you, Ionic, and allow you to pick one person. Can be a pro player, can be community person, can be someone who doesn't get enough views that you think should have them. So who is your Streamer of the Week, Ionic? You're muted right now.
Someone that doesn't get a lot of views that I think should have more.
Go ahead, you're good.
Someone that doesn't get a lot of views that I think probably I'm gonna have to go with my teammate Degars. He had like 400 views today, but normally he only gets like 50. So I think that he definitely deserves a lot more viewers. So I'll go ahead and post the link in chat.
Yeah, definitely do it.
Good shout.
If I could.
That's right. Here, I will. If you post something in chat, I'll permit you. Then you'll be good. Are you just Ionic in chat?
I think I am. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I actually need to be unbanned from Smite game.
Oh my word, you're banned.
Back like 6 months ago, I talked in chat by accident in a tournament game before it was over, before it was like done being streamed.
Oh my word.
So I'm actually banned from Smite game.
Wow.
Is your name just Ionic?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've unbanned you. There you go.
Thank you.
So now go ahead and post Degars' link in chat. We'll definitely go ahead and let you guys know. Chat's loving that right now, by the way. They're like, he's banned? What? That's right. So guys, we will put that in chat.
I spoiled the tournament game way back when. So
that's right.
I've been banned from Smite game for like 6 months.
I think that's awesome. So
this is where you're gonna go to the next tournament, right? And you're gonna come in chat again and do it on purpose. You're gonna win and be like, "Yo, we just won!" You can just spoil it again just because you got unbanned. I can see it. I would do that.
That's right. Look at Zapman in chat. Why couldn't Ionic be banned from the LAN? Because he's too good. He's too good. All right. So once again, guys, it's twitch.tv/ZeroGarz. ZeroGarz. He is our Streamer of the Week. I'll post one more time in chat. Please make sure you guys go over there and follow and support him. Yeah, that is awesome. Eventually, Hindu, you'll have the chance to pick the Streamer of the Week if you're lucky, man. We'll see.
It doesn't worry me at all, man. I'm more than happy to that.
You're on enough. You'll have the option, right? Yeah, too much pressure.
Too much pressure.
That's
having
right.
to pick one person. I get all hate mail then for choosing the wrong person. Like, why didn't you pick me?
I can imagine.
And I'm like, no, Rafa, no one likes you. So I'm only saying that because I expect he's in chat, and I'm just like, yeah, let's just BM him a little bit.
Yeah.
Why?
So let's go ahead and move into community emails. Then we'll dive into probably our biggest section today, which is esports update. So I got an email in here. This is from Dominic, and it says, "What are your thoughts on meditation? I personally like it, especially for early mana heavy characters like Giannis and Al Quang. Every time I buy it, someone calls me a noob, even though I hold my own in game. What are your thoughts on meditation?" So I'm going to throw this to Ionic first and get his perspective coming from a pro player on just meditation in the casual scene and meditation in the pro scene.
I think meditation is okay. When I first started out, I used meditation a lot, and that's just because eventually you're going to have to get rid of meditation just because it's a crutch. You need to learn how to manage your mana, especially as you progress through the game. But the one instance I've seen meditation effectively is on Hercules. It was actually Divios' idea, and he, if the enemy team doesn't have any healing reduction at all, then it really synergizes well with Hercules' 3, and you can just stay alive pretty much forever. And it helps with the early sustain in the solo lane as well. You can just spam abilities. So I wouldn't recommend that you go meditation now, just because I still think there are better actives even on Hercules. But it was pretty effective in the one scrim that we tried it in.
Okay. What about you, Hindu? What's your thoughts on meditation right now?
I was pulling the face like, no, let's just not have this discussion. What Ionic said though, is a crutch, right? It is a crutch, and you need to get past it. There is better activities in the game, and with it being a crutch, the moment you take away that crutch and walk on your own 2 feet, you'll realize you'll be better for it, and it'll teach you a lot more about the game, and you'll be better without it.
Yeah.
It might help you early game, but those points in game where you probably need that meditation, that's either teaching you A, you're spamming your abilities too much, or B, you should be going back to base to buy items anyway. They're kind of the two, real situations where you need to, you need mana. Is you should be basing, or you're spamming too much of your abilities.
Yeah.
No, don't use meditation.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people using meditation as they start to learn the game, and I'm completely okay with that, to be honest with you. Like, if you're just getting into Smite, a few weeks in or whatever, and you're using meditation, I can understand it for sure. I mean, Ionic put it a good way, using it as a crutch, and you had highlighted on that as well, Hindu. I think as you start to progress, you get level 30, you're starting to talk about ranked and stuff like that. There's just better items that are suited for those slots that are more helpful to you and especially the team. And at that point, if you're starting to touch into ranked and stuff like that, you shouldn't be relying on meditation to help your sustain in lane. So, yep, I completely agree with you there. Second question here, which I think Ionic's going to have a little bit more insight than you or I will, Hindu. But it worked out really well, actually, just the timing of it. This email's from Mark. He says, what do you feel it takes right now in the current competitive scene to be a professional player? The lifestyle, do you have to have a part-time job, the practice scene, etc. So, Ionic, from your perspective, someone wants the rundown on being a pro player, the type of lifestyle and stuff like that. What would you say to that?
I think there's obviously like 2 ends of the spectrum, sort of, where there's Team Dignitas who obviously they focus pretty heavily on streaming, and then they go into scrims in the evening.
Yeah.
And for most of my team, actually, I think most of us, 4 of us have school, and Snoopy's the only one who is free for most of the day.
Okay.
So, for example, for me, a typical day for me would be school 9 to 4, homework 4 to 7, and then scrims 7 to 10.
Wow. Okay.
And then I'd probably queue ranked 10 to 12 or play some casuals with my friends or something like that, and then just repeat. And then obviously if I want to like hang out with my friends or go get a bite to eat or something, then I'd have to do homework after scrims, and then I won't be able to play ranked or something like that. But for the other pro players, it looks more like them streaming most of the day. I'm not really sure what they do when they don't stream. Maybe go work out, the big guys or something. But yeah, that's what the typical day looks like for me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know it kind of varies from what I've seen. You kind of touched on that too, where some people are at a point in their life where they can fully commit to the esport itself, as you kind of talked about. Like Dignitas is in one of those situations where a majority of their players are able to do that, whereas other people are like, hey, like I work my 9 to 5 job, come home, and then I scrim type of deal. And kind of like, or, things like you said, like a younger generation like yourself, you go to school and then you come home and stuff like that. So yeah. I mean, what about you, Hindu? I mean, what are your thoughts on that question?
What it really takes is people with the right attitude is the thing that it needs. It's not necessarily about your lifestyle, because everyone's lifestyle is different in the pro scene. Look at the likes of some Dignitas members are a lot older, whereas the likes of COG Red members are quite younger.
Yeah.
What you need is you need to have commitment to wanting to get there and wanting to be a pro player. So not necessarily, when I say you need the right attitude, I don't necessarily mean like to be pro you just have to think you're a pro. You actually have to practice, but actually accept constructive criticism and be able to communicate with a team. Like if you can't accept constructive criticism, then you aren't going to function well inside of a team. I mean, egos don't really mesh very well at the real top level. And you see that time and time again with teams where they have a lot of egos and it can cause issues. But the good teams, the ones that really make it and become full pro teams, are the ones that generally, they kind of mesh well together because they're able to say, yo, you played shit that game. Or, as Yannick and me were talking a little bit earlier, who said, like, you pick each other up, When a misplay happens or something like that, you pick each other up and support each other. So you need a certain sort of attitude to really try and be a pro player, not just the basic skill.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I got a question for you, kind of we're talking about this, Yannick, is do you think, I don't think we're there yet, but do you think at some point a team like Dignitas that can commit 24/7 to Smite in regards to they're living in the same house as each other. They eat with each other. They, they are playing, all day, games together all day. They stream together, stuff like that, where they're fully immersed into it versus, for example, like yourself, where you go to school most of the day and then you come home and stuff like that. Do you feel that it'll eventually get to a point where you have to be in a situation like Dignitas? Or do you think, no, you're safe with what you're doing right now?
Well, if you look at the League of Legends teams, obviously it's a much bigger game, so you can't really draw too much of a comparison. But with the League of Legends teams, the North American teams scrim 8 hours a day, and the Korean teams scrim upwards of 10 to 12 hours a day. So eventually, I fully expect after Worlds that there's going to be some teams moving into gaming houses, and I definitely think that the time that you're going to have to commit to the game is going to be a lot higher than it is now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really big one. I mean, there's a lot of people just, this is a common question, like, what do you have to do to be a pro player? And you get a lot of that, and I see people that say, like, hey, like, I can't commit that type of time to the game, and the thing is, the scene's naturally, I feel like, moving in that direction. Dignitas not quite having a house quite yet, it's kind of this hybrid type of style. Not all the players are there either, but like I come from the StarCraft 2 scene, and they're, kind of like what you talked about there, a lot of your Korean players and stuff like that in other scenes, they've been doing houses for years in regards to that. So I can understand that. Any other points of this discussion at all? You guys want to add anything else before we move on? Okay,
Not really.
That's fine. If you guys have an email, please feel free to email the show, smiteupdate@gmail.com, and we will go ahead and talk about it next show. Also, as well, guys, please make sure you check out directly below this video. If you're on Twitch, there's a streamer feedback button. Go ahead and click that button and let Hi-Rez know. Do you enjoy the Smite update? Is this something you don't enjoy at all? Give them feedback. Let them know. That allows us to continue doing what we're doing here. Feedback's always good, just like Hindu Man said, we enjoy constructive criticism. So please make sure that you guys do it by clicking that streamer feedback button below. So before we jump into the NASPL kickoff LAN and discuss that in length, I want to remind you guys, if you're looking for tournaments in the scene, check out SmiteCentral.com. They do tournaments almost every day of the week. Not only are they a great source for checking out for news articles, they do write-ups they just did write-ups on each of the teams that were going to be in the kickoff LAN. But they also have, 3v3, 5v5s over there, stuff like that. So make sure you check it out, SmiteCentral.com. And then Tier Monster. Tier Monster actually just had a tournament right here on Smite Game, Code Green. And they also have a Code Black as well. It's not as often as Code Green. But go over to tiermonster.com and check out over there. We always get emails and questions. Hey, I want to play in tournaments more. Where can I find them at? Tier Monster and Smite Central are great sources for constant tournaments that are available in the scene. So let's go ahead and move on to the NASPL kickoff LAN. This is one of our bigger topics for this weekend to discuss. It did go ahead and wrap up yesterday. This was in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Cobb Energy Center in the ballroom there. And we'll kind of talk about it in length here. So Ionic, we'll kind of put it on you. This was your first LAN event for Smite. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was my first LAN event.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about it. I mean, when did you guys get down there? What did you experience? Tell us a little bit about your experience in general going to your first Smite event.
So basically, I left at on Thursday. I had to wake up at like 5 a.m. for my flight on Thursday.
Okay.
And I got to Atlanta at around 1 or 2.
Okay.
And then basically we had a shuttle bring us over to the hotel, and I actually met Boosh at the airport. And then
sweet.
If you guys know Cooper, he was there as well. We had 2 shuttles, so I had to actually go on a shuttle by myself, and Boosh and Cooper took the other shuttle.
Okay.
But yeah, we went back to the hotel, and then I think the rest of Thursday was free for us. And then on Friday we took our pictures and stuff, and took whatever videos we had to take. And then I think on Friday I did an interview as well with Drybear and DM.
Okay.
For I forget what the show is called that they do.
You're talking about Face Off.
The esports, yeah.
Yeah,
for
Face Off. Yep, where Drybear forgot to turn on his microphone. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got to practice our with our equipment on the new LAN computers and the new monitors and stuff. And
So how was that for you? I mean, I guess tell people what you're used to for playing Smite on, and then what you actually had a chance to play on.
yeah, so I before anyway, I played on a MacBook Pro and just like a $10 Dell mouse, and
Whew.
that's pretty much my setup. But thanks to my sponsor, COG, I managed to get myself some new equipment. So I have a new Razer keyboard and a new mouse, and then I should be getting a new computer soon with the new prize money as well.
Yeah, that's
So-
great. So how did it feel using that equipment at the event versus what you're used to? I mean, did it pick up pretty easily, or no, did it take quite a bit to actually get used to?
Everything adjusted pretty quick, to be honest,
Okay.
besides leveling my skills, which is like with the F1, F2 keys and
Yeah,
stuff. So I
yep.
had to change my key bindings for that
Wow. Okay.
to Shift 1 and Shift 2 instead of F1 and F2 because they're in different places on the new keyboard. But other than that,
You were playing it with that tiny mouse.
no, I got a new. I was playing the LAN with this new mouse.
No, but the old mouse you used to play on was like the little baby ones that.
Yeah.
Oh
Chips
my
used
word.
to keep. Why
That's
why
so
you playing on
small.
that? Like, holy crap! You're gonna start tearing ELO up now.
That's
Like,
right. That's right.
People better
Yeah.
be scared. You've got a proper mouse. Wow.
Divios had like a similar setup and he got new equipment as well.
That's
So-
awesome.
Yeah, but DBS is only 14, so like he's got small hands, so he doesn't
Yeah.
need a big.
Have you seen
That's
Divios? He's like 6'2".
Oh my
Yeah, I know,
word.
he's huge. The guy
Little
was
monster.
really, really tall.
Okay.
Baby-faced as well.
So Friday you got some test time on the equipment, stuff like that. So that's really, really good. I mean, that's always nice. So then I guess Friday night, you guys have anything in particular, anything you guys did, and then you just kind of jumped in on Saturday, or what'd you do?
Friday night, I think we went to dinner, like all the COG guys, COG Prime and COG Red.
Sweet.
Yeah, we went out to dinner, and then Saturday, we woke up at like 9, had breakfast. Basically, the COG teams had breakfast together, and then Snipe had ate together and Dig ate together, and then we got to the center, set everything up, and we basically just got straight into the games after we got to the center. We just waited around for a little while for everyone to get set up, and actually back behind the stage was like the players' room where we could
Okay.
see production as well as there was like snacks and a bunch of drinks available and stuff. So overall, it was like it was probably one of the best experiences of my life. It was a really
Wow.
really enjoyable time.
So you in the player room, you guys actually had like a television or something like that to watch what was going on stream and stuff?
I don't think there was a television in there actually, but there was TVs outside, like in the hallway,
Okay.
where we could watch the stream. But
Okay.
yeah. So we just got out, and there was areas for us to sit to watch the event.
Oh,
So-
okay. Okay, sweet, sweet. So, we'll talk a little bit about it here. So what were your thoughts on the venue? You've kind of had an opportunity to see a lot of the live events and stuff like that. What were your thoughts on the Cobb Energy Center, the venue? And those of you guys not familiar, this was a very small portion of the Cobb Energy Center. The big pictures and stuff like that you guys have seen with like the huge stage and stuff, that's actually going to be for the Smite World Championship in January. This is actually a separate area at the Cobb Energy Center, which I think they call the ballroom, and was much smaller per se. But what did you think of that type of small, setup there that they had? A little more intimate and stuff like that?
Yeah, there was actually more people than I expected there after seeing the ELAN. But yeah, it was really nice. The production quality was definitely up. There was like cameras like everywhere, and yeah, it was nice. And the crowd was pretty close. So it was definitely a really nice venue, really professional, and yeah, I just can't wait for the next LAN.
Yeah, I saw the crowd that was there, and it was definitely, much more small and more intimate, very similar to like Hindu Man experience at the ESL studio for sure. And I'm like excited for players like yourself, who this was your first event, especially with Hindu Man, because I expect you to be at Smite World Championship too. People like yourself who haven't been, like, that weren't at the launch tournament, because like you guys remember seeing pictures and videos of the launch tournament crowd, and it was just like so much bigger. And I'm really excited for players like yourself, Yannick, that as long as everything works out for you guys, if you're at the launch event, like to be able to experience that, or the World Championship, because it's awesome to be able to see that, you know, those types of people and a huge crowd and see it, you know, when a kill happens and the entire crowd like shakes the room with excitement. It's really cool. I remember at the
that's the one thing NA that I thought was better than ESL for certain, was the fact that the crowd, you could hear them in the background during the commentary.
Yeah,
and that was really, really nice. Like, and I know the casters could see the crowd and talk to him.
Yeah,
and you could hear the hype coming from the crowd. So I think overall, question for you, just off the back of that, Yannick, is, did you have noise cancelling headsets? Like, did they interfere at all?
Good question.
With the games? Could you hear anything?
Yeah, we had they actually did from what I heard from the COG guys, is that the speakers were like right behind them at the Smite launch event.
Yep.
So so what they did for us is we actually got these special kind of like earbuds that we put under our headsets, as well as noise canceling headsets. So
nice.
What did happen a little bit was the crowd picked up through our mics a little bit, but besides that, the crowd, we could definitely feel the crowd and like the table shaking a little bit.
That's good, though. That's good. That must get you hyped, surely.
Yeah, definitely, especially when you're winning and you like make a play and then you wait like 10 seconds for the crowd to react.
You can hear the rumble of the crowd getting all hyped over it. God, that must be good.
Dude, just wait. It was I've been to like a few MLG events and stuff like that, and I have to give kudos to Hi-Rez Studios at the launch tournament, because when a tower fell, they did something with the audio like spectacularly, where they like dubbed over the tower sound, but making it more detailed. So literally, it felt like rocks were crumbling around you at the launch event. Like the whole, like the building shook quite a bit as a tower fell. Like,
oh, that's really cool.
It was really, really cool. To be honest with you, I know at the launch tournament, they had the speakers behind a lot of the players, which first big event, understandable. Things that they learned from, and I think the players had Plantronic headsets. They didn't have earbuds. And they were using like a mumble server to talk back and forth that they had on site and stuff like that to do that. But I think that's awesome. Like that's really super cool. So let's flip over to stream quality. Talk a little bit about the production, stuff like that. What we saw and stuff. So Hindu Man, what did you think of it? You were watching from home. Same thing with me. We didn't have the opportunity to go.
It's been a long time since I've actually just watched the broadcast and I've been involved in it, because I'm casting. So to sit on the outside and watch from home, it looked really good and professional the way they cut, because they followed very similar to what they did at ESL. They did very similar transitions to so and so, back to the weatherman sort of thing where they did the TV talks. In gameplay, I did like the first blood and tower kill things that they did.
Yeah,
however,
like flew forward.
However, I think they need to readdress that one, because like there was a couple of points where they went Gold Fury like that, right?
Yeah.
And in the middle of a team fight, and you get this big pop up that went Gold Fury, and you're like, where'd the action go? What's going on? And you miss the action for like point of a second, and maybe they need to
make it transparent or something.
Yeah, like make it so it's not as in your face, so to speak, because otherwise
they could probably delay it until after the fight or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They could have chosen to do it. I think they wanted to do it the moment it went down, and it looked good, but at the same time, as you miss team fights because of it, like because you've got a big Gold Fury symbol in your face or a tower's just been dropped. I like the idea though of having those sort of pop-up things, because that kind of follows what they did at Worlds, with the towers crumbling in the background through the noise. Because we heard that on stream too. But,
I know.
Yeah, I mean.
I was going to say, I remember at the launch tournament, they actually had, for the way it worked for spectators there, is they had the gameplay like on the big stage right above it, but then to the left and right of the main stage, they had smaller screens, and so like when a Gold Fury occurred, the whole screen would be filled up with Gold Fury on the left and right side screens, but the middle screen was never affected by it. It was always gameplay. Now, granted, on the stream side, I don't recall because I was at the event, I didn't see it, I don't remember that from the launch tournament, but they could also do something exactly what you're talking about, where it flashes up in your face, but make it semi-transparent so you can still see what's going on, possibly. I don't know how that would look, but I agree with you.
Transparent, or just, it was not necessarily transparent, because I think transparent might not work, but I think like it just being smaller, in the corner.
Yeah,
flash up. That'd be really coll still. I love the idea that they put behind it, and the idea of making it really, it was a good production thing. I just think in the middle of a team fight, having a big picture of a Gold Fury has died, I'm like, get out of my way, Gold Fury, I don't care about you. How many people are going to get stomped off the back of it, That was the more important thing, or the more important aspect.
Yeah.
Who's going to live, so that was one thing. other than that, production seemed pretty good overall. Like you can see that I can see that it's getting a lot better and better and better as time goes on, and that's really hype. Looking forward to like, the Pro League come in, and then on top of that, we're gonna have Worlds and stuff. It's looking really, really good. And when you think about where it started, a few months ago, because I obviously watched past broadcasts from quite a while ago, you can really see, they've really put in a lot of effort into production to make it really, really smooth and crisp.
Yeah, I will. I'll have to comment and say, when they did Face Off, actually, Yannick was on that with Dry Bear and Bart. Was it Dry? No, Dry Bear and DM Brandon was on it with you, right, Yannick? On the Face Off there.
Yeah, it was Dry Bear and DM.
Okay.
Yep.
When they did
It was Dry Bear and DM.
Yeah, when they did that, they I noticed they did like this like camera swing. I noticed in it. And I was like, dude, they have a camera boom arm? I was like, that is awesome. Those of you guys not familiar, it's like that really long arm that has like a camera on the end. Because like they didn't have that at the launch tournament or anything like that. And I was like, wow, like I love the camera sweeps that they did with that. And then at ESL, at the EU tournament, that Hindu Man was at, they did a lot of like as soon as the game was over or after the casters spoke, they passed it over to like an analytical desk, but it wasn't like a few guys sitting behind a desk like the launch tournament. It was like kind of like the where they had like two people standing around a table or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was terrific. Like I felt like Hi-Rez Studios, like, and I definitely gave props to them on Twitter, without a doubt. I mean, just the change in production from, the EU tournament, and then prior to that, the tournament that was any LAN event tournament that was before that, which I guess was the launch tournament, was the LAN tournament before that. I guess, is that right? What other tournaments have we had? LAN tournaments, I think launch tournament was last, right?
Yeah, launch and then
between the launch tournament and the NA tournament, I feel like Hi-Rez Studios learned so much from ESL in regards to their camera work, not in game specifically, but I'm talking about is outside the game and production and value, and they are leagues better right now. And I may be sitting here, kind of fluffing up Hi-Rez Studios a little bit, but as you guys know on Smite game, I talk my mind. I tell you guys how I feel. If I don't like something, I'll tell you, even if it has to do with Smite or Hi-Rez or something they're doing. And I will say I was very impressed. I think they have gone from, if 0 to 10, they've gone from maybe a 2 up to like a 7 right now. I think they're doing a phenomenal job. So I'm really eager to see, after we have several more LAN tournaments under their belt, how it works out. We talked a little bit about the venue, a little bit about the live crowd there. What was your thoughts, Yannick, on the facility itself? Did you get a chance to see like where, the Smite World Championship was going to be and stuff like that, or no?
Unfortunately, I did ask to take a look at it, but I think people just forgot. I didn't get to see the whole, I forget what it's called, but it seats like 3,000 people almost. But I didn't get to see that venue, unfortunately. But like the venue itself, like as a whole, it looked really cool. Especially they had like these Smite sort of poster things lined up around the hallway and stuff with all the gods on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the banners, and then they had this little T-shirt area set up where you could buy T-shirts. It was really nice, and the Cobb Energy Center itself, obviously, it's a really nice venue.
Sweet, for sure. I mean, we as the live crowd really didn't get a lot of view on that at all, or being stream crowd there. So you definitely been talking things up about the weekend, about how things went. Was there anything that you saw or that you experienced where you're like, it was good, but I wish this was better, or something you disliked at all that kind of stood out to you?
To be honest, there wasn't. I mean, if I can't think of something off the top of my head, then
that's great.
I really don't think that there was. It was a great event. I can't complain.
Okay, that's awesome. I mean, I think that's great. Anything that you saw from your perspective, Hindu Man? I mean, outside of, you pointed out about like the Gold Fury, the First Bloods, towers, stuff like that on stream that was kind of blocking some of the gameplay. Was there anything else that you saw from your perspective
What, negatively or positively?
Just where places that could be improved upon that you noticed
Like,
at all.
This small little things, and I'm not gonna. They're so small that I'm not gonna comment on them. But I mean, Hi-Rez is such a good company. You know, they know what they're doing. They realized the mistakes. Those small little things that they did, and went, well, next time this could be a little bit better.
Sure.
But one thing I'm going to complain about though is that NA tournament was so much nicer than the EU one. The cup was so much nicer.
Oh, that was
EU
awesome.
One.
That was huge too.
That was offensive to the EU people. And everyone in the EU, like I was talking to some of the pro players, and like, that cup's so much better than our cup. That's not fair. Why is it so much better?
So Yannick, who ended up walking home with that one?
Yeah, who's got it?
It was David Fry actually that got to take home the cup.
That is stole it. Yeah, right. I think that's a good call. I think that's a good call.
Yeah, the team agreed on it. We were like, we'll give it to David.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Boosh actually got to walk home with the huge check, the huge $25,000 check. He, since all of us are flying and we couldn't really fit it into our suitcases,
yeah.
And Boosh was driving back home, so he, so he took it.
He's cashed that in at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, right.
You spoke to him since? Like, have you made sure he's alive since?
Thankfully, it's a fake check.
I've heard that I've seen him around in Twitch chats, but I haven't actually spoken to him yet.
He's there subscribing to everyone with your money right now, and you don't even realize it. Just like cashed it in immediately.
People give me props for some of the Smite posters I have sitting behind me and stuff like that. Like, oh, that's cool. I'm sorry, but if I won that, I'd be hanging a $25,000 Smite check behind me. Definitely.
Just on the wall behind.
That's definitely something to have in your room to be proud of, without a doubt. So let's go on and talk about some of the matches here, stuff like that. So we right off the back had the first series of the day yesterday on Saturday for the NASPL kickoff LAN. We had Cognitive Red versus Cognitive Gaming's Prime Team. I guess is what the way it's being called here. Tell us a little bit about that for yourself. I mean, was it easy to treat them as just any other team, or I know you guys were constantly referred to as the sister teams and stuff like that. But I mean, how did that work out for you guys? Because there's a lot. When I was watching that series, to be honest with you, I was like, wow, like Cognitive Red has a lot to live up to. Like Cognitive Gaming has been around for quite some time. You know, they did half decent at the launch tournament. How did that feel going against Cognitive in the first series?
To be honest, since Cog, like they're the only team we scrim, obviously, so we know their playstyle and we know how to adapt to their playstyle and stuff like that, and we know the picks that they're gonna want. So playing against Cog, to be honest, like it was sort of just like a clean slate once we got to the launch tournament. Like we're just like playing any other game. We're just playing. Obviously, we keep like we're playing Cog in mind, but there's no like getting overwhelmed because of the names and stuff like that. And I honestly think, while it could have been the other end of the spectrum, and like we choke and we see the crowd and all that, it's sort of just like we see the crowd and we're like really hyped up about it. Everyone was extremely positive throughout the game, and it was just like a new height for our team, and it was amazing.
How did things work out for you guys with some of your players as well, with nerves and stuff like that, playing in front of a live crowd? I mean, going from playing in your bedroom or your parents' basement or in your own place to now playing in front of a live audience. It's on stream with 10,000 plus people watching it on different equipment. Did you guys have any or find any of the players issues with nerves and stuff like that, or how'd that work out for you guys, especially being younger age too?
I think the nerves, or I think the crowd played into a positive effect, and that's really how you have to take it, because when you mess up and obviously you're playing against more fan favorite teams such as Cog and Dig, the crowd's going to be cheering for them when you guys die, right? So when you mess up and you hear the crowd cheering for the other team, you have to just be like, whatever, it's whatever. And then when you see the crowd cheering for you, you got to be like, yeah, that gets me pumped up. But you really have to take the crowd with stride. Otherwise, you just can't let the pressure get to you. Obviously, it's a little bit different for us because we came into the LAN event as the 4th seed. There wasn't a lot of pressure on us, so we really had nothing to lose if we lost that first series against Cog. Whereas Cognitive, a lot of people see them as the best team in the world. Anenster, a lot of people see him as the best player in the world. So that's a lot of pressure to have on your shoulders, and I think that added pressure probably contributed to to COG, whereas for us, we were just sort of the high schoolers that got there.
No, for sure. So, Cognitive Red ended up walking away 2-1 over Cognitive Gaming there. Meanwhile, you guys got a chance to go ahead and some time to relax while Snipe versus Dignitas was going on. You guys had a chance, I assume, to watch that. Were there anything specifically that you were looking for on that day or anything like that when you were watching Dig versus Snipe?
I saw some gerbolts, that's for sure.
Man, that guy is never gonna live that down.
Wow.
I kind of feel for Jerby. I mean, with the whole gerbolt thing, but
It's more a joke than anything else, though,
Yeah.
honestly, because he does
Yeah.
actually land quite a lot of them. Like,
yeah, he performed extremely well on Hebo, and I think that after the first game, Dig kind of slacked off a little bit, picked Vulcan and stuff, and then Snipe showed them that they were the real deal, and then they came into game 3 with just reinvigorated. But there wasn't really too much that we were looking for in the Dig versus Snipe game because I don't know. I think we were pretty prepared to go against anyone, and we knew what to expect coming into the game, regardless of what happened in the Snipe versus Dig game.
So I didn't get a chance to ask, what type of preparation did you guys do as a team to prep for this? I mean, was there a lot of watching replays, a lot of scrimming, reviewing other teams? I mean, what type of prep did you guys do? Because you guys did really well coming in, being the underdogs and being victorious.
To be 100% honest with you, well, as far as picks and bans go, that's mainly Guards and Divios that have
Okay.
final say on picks and bans, whereas
Okay.
the rest of us just sort of give our ideas and then they have final say. So we knew what we wanted to do going in. We knew we were playing on the Circuit patch, so there wasn't really any adjusting we needed to do. No real hard strategies that we had to think of for like the new patch or anything.
Sure.
And we didn't really prepare too much, just like some brief conversations about what we might want to do. And besides that, we knew what like, for example, during the qualifiers, I remember 1 week leading up, we talked about it like the whole week. We're gonna get this pick, this pick, this pick, and I think we overthought it, and then that's just what we didn't do in the LAN. We didn't overthink it, so.
Okay, that makes sense. So moving on from there, we saw Dignitas victorious over Snipe 2-1, and moving through that series there, we then went ahead and saw Cog Red versus Team Dignitas. And I guess a question for you, just throughout the day at all, was there any or I'll throw it over to Hindu. Was there any God selections or surprises from bans at all that you saw when watching? Was there anything when you were like, at one point I know in
Let's
EU,
go.
Thanatos was a surprise for you, but
This is the surprising one. I'm gonna have to ask Yannick about this as well. Yannick, was there like a special patch that came out after the games that you and Cog played where Hebo was released, or was it some sort of gentleman agreement that Hebo would not be played in your matches against each other? Because like the whole of EU was like, why's no one picking Hebo? Why is he not banned or picked? What's going on? Like, it took ages to see a Hebo pick.
To be 100%, I mean, the Hebo pick, it was just sort of like, on LAN, what you have to do is you got to keep mixing it up, and I think that's why Thanatos works so well in the EU picks. You keep mixing it up with the more surprising picks, and for NA, I think Hebo is a more surprising pick. Forgive me, all the European players, but
It was just funny because like everyone in the EU was like, why's Hebo not here? Where's
right.
Hebo? And what was okay? This is one thing to all of you. Why the hell, like, you all watched the EU LAN pretty much? I'm sure you saw VODs of it at some point, but no one banned Rom again.
Oh yeah.
I think the majority of the time, and also it has to do with sort of the individual players on ROM. I'm really happy to give Snoopy ROM because I think his ROM is outstanding, whereas I'm definitely more scared of Barracuda's Apollo than his ROM.
You guys
Apollo.
banned him out on Apollo early on in that COG vs COG game. You banned
that's
out Apollo and he ended up on ROM, and granted that patch still had ROM, super strong because of the fact that mana wasn't a huge issue at all at that point because there were no adjustments to his ability there. So
I don't think Rom actually lost his lane. I mean, he might have lost the game in some of the games, but he never really lost his lane against any of the other hunters he played against. So I was really surprised when it was like, hang on, we just saw the EU tournament with the same patch, and like I thought I expected you guys to like, ban Ram away most of the time, in the tournament, and we just didn't see many bans. It was like first picks every time. It was quite surprising. That was the biggest shock to me, was like Hebo and Ram more than anything else, honestly. And then eventually
For us, yeah. So for us, it was just more like we're happy to first pick Rom. Like I said, we're really happy
of course, yeah.
to get Snoopy to pick it, and then and then we're happy if other teams first pick Rom, because we're not too scared of like I said, I'd rather play against Bears Apollo, or I'd rather play against Bears Rom or Zetman's Rom than their Apollo.
Okay. So in the final series, it was a best of 5. We did go ahead and see Cognitive Red 3-1, and I guess my thoughts over to you. Going into you guys got a chance to play Team Dignitas in the grand finals there, and was there some hesitation there? I mean, they're definitely a well-known LAN team. They have the most LAN experience out of everybody. So was there some hesitation going against them in the grand finals at all, or no? Seemed pretty. Because you guys are spot on.
Yeah, after beating COG, our confidence was like sky high.
That's awesome.
In my opinion, I think, especially online, they seem to not do as well, but that'll come with experience, of course. But in my opinion, I think COG's the best team in the world. So after beating what is the best team in the world in our minds, that's like so huge for the confidence, and especially on LAN when emotions run so high.
Yeah,
that's such a big thing. And to be honest, like playing against Dignitas, of course, like it's Dignitas, and I've been watching Lasses since like
forever.
Since I was like level 5 in Smite, and when Zapman started streaming, I was watching him too. So it's sort of like, I look up to these players, right? But playing against them and managing to pull out the win was really cool. It was a good experience.
Yeah, I can imagine for sure. It's always good. You guys were definitely riding that kind of hype train. Winning that first series 2-1, having a little break, and then going into the grand finals. So did you feel a lot of like nerves and pressure after it was like tied up 1-1? Going into that, was that walk us through a little bit of that.
Well, what really helped is after every single game, we got off the stage, and we would go to the players' room with Maddie and the COG players.
Oh, yeah.
And the COG players would all be there. They'd all be giving us words of encouragement. Shout out to Jeff Hinla, because Jeff would always be there saying, it's because, like, for example, I think in almost all the games, I started the games like 0-2. And Jeff's just like, that's what you do on Geb. You get caught sometimes. You just got to work on it, and that's what you do. Like, don't worry about it. You're gonna do amazing next game. And them helping us out, and Maddie and all the COG guys helping us out, just help us keep our morale and help keep us calm in between games. And that's awesome. Like, especially like that's one of the big benefits of having a sister team, is just having that other team who has that same experience as you, probably even much more experience, just there to help you and root for you and give you tips.
That's awesome. Hang out really close. Like, I'm really pleased. Like, it's like you can pass knowledge to each other as well, and just like give each other back and support each other. It's really good that you both support each other as well, and you're not like at loggerheads, because you're in part of the same company. Sometimes I feel like I was a bit worried that could be a sort of us and them rivalry, because like, all right, we're both COG, but we still want to beat them every single week. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
you don't want them to succeed, so to speak. But I'm really, really glad that doesn't come across. It's not like that, so it's good.
Yeah, I was eager to see kind of how that worked out with Maddie Pocket. Maddie's been in the scene for, since I joined the scene back in like early 2012. So him and I have been around for a while, and I'll have to shoot him a message. I'm eager to see like how that worked out for him, because he was a coach, kind of team manager for 2 different teams that were both in it, and both went against each other right off the back. Like, it's kind of do you find that sometimes he's put in a hard place, especially with that first series?
Well, he said, like, he told us straight up, I think, like, the day we got there, or probably even before on Dolby, he just said, I'm not going to give you guys any help to like, for strategies against each other.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be rooting for either of you. And, well, he's going to be rooting for both of us, obviously, but I'm not.
Yeah, we know what you meant.
And if you guys want to prepare for Dig and Snipe, I'm happy to help. But,
Okay.
yeah, it was awesome. And Maddie, He said to us before, he said, I have complete confidence that one of you two teams is going to win the tournament. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that we made Papa Matty proud.
Papa Matty. That's awesome. That is awesome. So for sure. So, wrapping things up, we ended up seeing Cognitive Red win, 3-1 over Team Dignitas there. And, bringing home the trophy and the 25K, which is pretty exciting for sure. Any last things you can think of, Hindu, with just the NA event, stuff like that we want to talk about with Yannick?
No, the event overall was hype. The only thing is, I said on Twitter as a joke, and I thought, man, this would have been so good just to copy EU, in the fact that if I was like in before Smite, and then Cognitive kick Jeff Hindler, and Cog kick Jeff Hindler, and MLC leaves. I was just like, I'd just be like C9 breaking up, It'd just be a repeat of EU all over if that happened, because the two teams that were unexpected to make it to the final made it, and I'm really pleased with how all the teams before. Because to be fair, from my point of view, NA looked really stale.
Okay.
I felt NA felt really stale, and I was like Dig and Cog 1 and 2 all the time, no problems. And then for Snipe and Cog Red to come out of the gates smashing it like they did this weekend in the LAN event, that was freaking awesome to see. Because I don't want to see like, I want it to be like EU, and I'm not trying to say like NA's bad, but I want it to be more like EU, where it's so close that anyone can win every single week,
Yeah.
Because it makes the games hype to cast, it makes the games hype to be a part of, and then when the Pro League kicks off, right? You're gonna have these games where it's gonna be Dignitas versus X team, right? And everyone's like, oh, Dig's gonna win that one. I don't want people not to tune in because it's like, oh, Dig's gonna win,
Yeah, that's true.
I want them to tune in because it's like, yo, this could be close, I want every single game to be really close. So seeing Cog Red and Snipe do so well is fantastic for the NA scene, and I'm really looking forward to, more from it. It was really, really good. Really, really good production overall. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm just sad I didn't get to go.
You can't.
You don't need an EU caster for when there's 3 NA ones though.
Well, it's funny because like going back like a year ago, it was like, okay, the Smite launch tournament to look forward to, and then if you could make PAX or Gamescom, and that was like it. And now it's like, oh my word, you have like 2 NA events, 2 EU events, and then the World Championship. So there's all in 1 year, all within like 8 months of each other, which is amazing, to be honest with you, to be able to have so much of that. A question I could ask Yannick there was, when you look at the scene, who are a few support players, I guess, that you kind of look up to or have looked to kind of mimic and learn from, just from joining the scene?
The first one, way back when I started competitive, was Allied, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
When he was on route with Lasses and they laned, that was when I sort of decided Allied was like sort of like the first support player I looked to.
Okay.
And so it was Allied first, and then now I really like, especially being a sister team with Jeff. I really look to Jeff, and he always pushes me in scrims, and he like to get better and to play better. So I would say I definitely look up to Jeff a lot.
Jeff the Sex Hindela, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, definitely. No, that's awesome for sure. With that, and then when did you start playing actually? Like when did you first? Do you remember like when you started playing Smite?
I think it was August 2012 when I started playing Smite.
That was
I could probably check on my.
I'm already looking already. I was like, all right, let's check to make sure. For sure. Yeah, August 2012 was when I started, and let's see, where were you at? Player created. Oh, you started. Okay, let's see. You started July 28th, 2012. So you started a few days before I did. So that's awesome. Hindu man, you started then too, right?
Yeah. Plus 2 years.
Plus 2 years.
Close.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess what we have to look forward to, folks in chat is, I guess, so now what we'll expect is the SPL to be going on, and that'll be kicking off here shortly. Do you guys know a date when that starts?
Yannick might have more clue than me. All I know is that. Go on.
I'm not sure.
We don't know.
Everyone's
We're
like,
only the players and the casters. Why would we know when it's starting? I mean, come on. What are you expecting, Octane?
I know.
All I know is that next weekend is going to be NA play-ins where
Yep.
it's Fat Chunks Assemble, 5 Angry Men, Late Bloomers, and Torch. And obviously, it's looking like Fat Chunks and 5 Angry Men are going to make it, but Late Bloomers could still make a run on it. And Torch lost in a bad spot. EU, Walk It Off, Expo Secrets, and Agilitas are vying for it, and Heroes and Zeros in a bad spot. But once again, anything can happen in those tournaments. So it'll be interesting to see who the last two pro teams are. And then after that, I'm not sure whether it's going to be a break and then the Pro League kicks off or straight into the Pro League. I'm not sure. But
Yeah.
at least you know what's next weekend. So
It looks like it says
I think they've actually announced a date.
August 20th. August
I think
20th.
I remember hearing a date.
Yeah, the Smite Pro League will be held every day, Wednesday through Sunday, starting August 20th. And so
August 20th?
Yeah. So
next week.
Well, next weekend, we'll go ahead and...
no, it's not weekend. It's
that's
week.
Right. Yeah, correct. That's a Wednesday. So what will happen is on the 16th and 17th, we'll be determining the last two spots for the SPL. Right now for NA, you have Cognitive, Dignitas, Snipe, and Cognitive Red. And then on the 16th, the two that are selected there will join in. And then for EU, we have Team Coast, Cloud9, SK Gaming, and Team Solo Mid. And on the 17th is when the last the round robins are occurring. And yes, it's gonna be so North. Link? Go ahead. Where's this link? I will post it. Well, if you go to the new esports website for Smite, esports.com/Smite game, and you click on Pro League. Click on Pro League at the top, and you have a full information list. I'll put this in chat for people like Hindu Man who are new to the internet and using it. You can go ahead and find it there. So it looks like that it'll be starting then, and then it looks like Wednesday it starts for NA. Wednesday's schedule will be 7:30 to 8:30, 8:30 to 9:30. So pretty much you have about 2 hours worth of content. That'll be going on Wednesday through Friday. And then on the weekends, 2 to 3, and then 3 to 4. And then it's kind of a little different there for EU as well. So, I mean, that'll be pretty exciting. So pretty much between August 20th and October 5th, we'll have esports content multiple times a week, which I'm not sure here. They have the EU Game 1 schedule on Wednesdays starting at 7:30, and they have it starting... So, like, maybe they'll have two streams up, Smite Game and Smite Pro then. Because it looks like NA and EU are going to go at the same time. You notice that? You read that? Any of you guys see that?
I'm looking and I'm just very confused. Cause
yeah.
I'm pretty sure NA's supposed to be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then E's supposed to be Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
See, I'm glad you said it, Ionic, because I was thinking the same thing. That's what I've been told too, and I was like, I've been told I'm casting Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, and it says Wednesday to Friday and Saturday to Sunday. So I think that's how it's going to be split. I just don't think they've written it all out properly. But I think, yeah, it's going to be starting, it should be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Friday.
Okay, so maybe that information is wrong then down there. Because I thought, the way that looks to me, they're going to have two streams going the way it's listed. Yeah. You're right, Hindu, because that's what I heard. But then when I look at this, I'm like, okay, maybe we're just going to have two streams. You know, Smite Game, Smite Pro. Yeah. That'd be cool too as well. I would love that, to have even more options. So we'll have to see, what the verdict is there. And I assume that all those details will get ironed out here in the next few days, because that'll be starting up very, very shortly as well. So let's go ahead. We'll navigate a little bit away from esports here. The past week we did have the NUA patch come out, and we discussed it last week a ton. So I want to get your perspective, Yannick. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on NUA right now? The new NUA and her current kit.
I haven't played NUA too much.
Okay.
But I played casuals with a couple people on the PTS, and Dibios thinks she's OP. So I'm not really sure what to make of her, but from what I've heard from other people, Nunu was extremely strong.
Okay. Before we get a little more into that, I want to let you guys know within the next 2 minutes or so, the 800 gem code will be thrown up on the Twitter account for the Smite Update. Twitter.com/TheSmiteUpdate. Make sure that you guys are following the show over there. You'll see weekly news, esports news, stuff like that, articles written. So Twitter.com/TheSmiteUpdate. Keep an eye out. You'll see the 800 gem code posted over there. And then shortly here in the next few minutes as well, you'll see a Tier Monster Ward Skin posted as well. Probably about 10-15 minutes as well. So keep an eye out there. So back on topic here a little bit more.
If we're giving some stuff away, I can...
what do you got? What do you got?
I can throw in a Guan code.
Oh! Look at you!
Nice
Look at him. He's holding up like his $100 bills. Look at him. He's like, yeah.
By the way, I've only got 10 months to walk.
All right. Well, what we'll do, Ionic, if you want to put it in the, we like to call it AIM chat, but the GoToMeeting chat, just put one of the codes in there, and then I'll send that to one of the mods that'll be working on that, and I'll have him posted on there too. So pretty much, guys, in the next like 20 minutes, there'll be an 800 gem code, a tier monster skin, and also a Guan code posted up on twitter.com/thesmiteupdate. So, talk a little bit about Nuwa. I will say, first game I played with her, she was not banned out, and an enemy opponent selected her, and I was a bit confused and a bit frustrated by how good she was. Hindu, what are your thoughts on the new Nuwa and her current kit?
Just no. That guard is ridiculous.
Yep.
It's too strong. It's just too strong in every department. She's got amazing wave clear. She's got great damage. She can potentially one-shot you with a 2-3 combo, where the clay minion hits you and you get hit by a 3. The damage from that is too much.
Yeah.
Her ultimate damage at A level's fine, but when she starts getting items, it's going to do exactly what I thought it might do, and it's going to be, if she gets put into competitive play in the state she's in right now, she'll have a dominant lane, and she'll also ult before any team fight even begins. So they're like, oh guys, let's do Gold Fury, and then Nuwa go, 1 second guys, let me just ult their whole team for
I know
25% of their HP, and then we'll start Gold Fury because they'll come in all weekend anyway.
Oh my
word! Engaged now, So
yeah.
it's too strong. Basically, she's got too much wave clear. Her minions do too much base damage just on auto attacks, which is stupid. But then her fog is amazing wave clear, and then her shinging metal is ridiculous. Shout out to Shing. I've got to keep calling it shinging metal for Bart. And yeah, her ultimate's really good. I like her ultimate, but when I say I like her ultimate, it doesn't require any skill.
Yeah,
At the same time, it does too much damage. That's the issue. She's just too strong.
What I noticed was kind of interesting. I was going against her, and I think it was. Was it Conquest? It might have been Conquest, and I got rooted by her, and I was like, okay, whatever, it happens, good for them. But then like I'm fighting like the clay soldiers or whatever, and I'm like, what just stunned me? How did I die? Like that was a huge explosion. What happened?
Yeah,
I'm like, I was like scratching my head at first, like learning. Like I read her through her kit. We talked about it, before it even came out on stream last week. But until you actually play against it, you really don't understand it. Just how good like clay soldiers and like shining metal are. And then on top of that, fire shards. Like I didn't watch any of the reveal video that Hi-Rez Bard had done regarding it. So when I'm in game, I'm like, what is this symbol? Oh my god, I don't understand. Boom! I'm like, are you kidding me? So as soon as that happened and I knew what it was, I was like, I am buying Aegis, thank you very much. And it is only for Nuwa.
Shout out to Medjin chat who just said it should be called Juby Proof. We need a Jerby Proof Nuwa skin because he can't miss a roll.
You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of like, did any of you guys play Counter-Strike at all?
A little bit.
A little bit. And Counter-Strike, you had the shotgun and you called it the noob cannon. That's exactly what that reminds me of.
Thought it was noob tube, but yeah.
The noob tube, exactly. So, yeah, for sure. I mean, you had said, Ionic, that you haven't really played much or against her with it. You've had teammates saying it's awfully strong. Where do you see her being played at now? Like position-wise versus what she used to be?
I think she'll probably be a mid laner, just from what I've seen.
She'd be banned. That's why
she'll be banned. It was funny. We had Hi-Rez Chris on last week, and we were talking about like gods and stuff like that, and the patch, and we were talking about it. And he's like, we really try to develop gods that will not be auto locked. And then Nuwa comes out, and I sent him after the first game versus Nuwa. I sent a Twitter message to Hi-Rez Chris, and I'm like, you're not trying to develop gods that are auto banned, huh? ... New Nuwa.
Her player damage is just too high. Like at the end of a game, I've seen Nuwas go like 1 in 10 and have the most player damage of everybody in the game, and you're like, what? How can they do that much player damage? It's just she just does too much. That's the issue.
Yeah. Well, it's
totally down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's just funny, because I feel like it's like you go into a Conquest game and it's like, okay, Nuwa's banned and Osiris is banned. Okay, now let's start actually banning because those gods are like a no-brainer. So I can completely understand from that. taking a look at that. So here's the interesting one. I meant to ask Yannick about that patch. We're not going to go through the whole thing, just a few questions about it. What are your thoughts on the change they made to Bumba's mask? And what do you think they were trying to focus on, which is 10% bonus power versus jungle mobs is now appropriately being added to pets?
I think, what you can do with that is, I think cats are going to do more damage to gold free now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Bakasur is going to do more damage to gold free with that. So maybe more soloing gold frees with pets.
You're missing New War Jungle.
You know what else you're missing? You know what else you're missing? Everybody here, ready? Arachne spiders.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, that's how they buffed Arachne. Everyone thought they were gonna buff her, or do something to her kit in the last few weeks, and then we see a Bubba's mask. And my first thought was Arachne. I'm like, wow, this is a nonchalant Arachne adjustment, without a doubt. Especially cats too. Of course you can pop cats. Cats can tank Gold Fury or Fire Giant or whatever in there. Hindu Man's all caught up on this Nuwa jungling type of thing that he thinks is viable. Did you try it?
Nuwa Jungle. No, I've not tried it yet. You know why? Because she's broken anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You can put her in any role and she'll be fine. She's too strong. But I think realistically, with a kit, she could jungle. I'm still gonna back that, but I'm not gonna try and test it yet because she's just too strong right now to even. She could be play anywhere right now.
True. So we also saw Giannis. His base health is increased from 380 to 400, and on his portal, his cooldown is reduced from 15 seconds to 12 seconds. So, Yannick, I guess what are your thoughts on Giannis right now? I saw he was banned out a decent amount during the tournament, and now we're seeing he's kind of getting quite a few buffs here. Did you think he needed it, looking at it from a competitive scene, or what were your thoughts on Giannis?
Completely unnecessary, in my opinion. I think just because. I think we needed to give it a little bit more time for people to learn how to play Giannis, because he's a pretty high skill cap god, especially, the portal's pretty hard to hit, and then his 2, I think it is, whatever his really damaging ability is, that's not his portal. And, you saw in the tournament that COG was banning Giannis against us, and then they gave us Giannis, and then after they gave it to us, they banned it, right? So I think the Giannis buffs were pretty unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean the way when I look at Giannis, and I look at him as from a casual perspective, that's what I play. That's what Hindu Man plays a lot of too. We're not really seeing Giannis snowballing and being amazing. But I feel like when you take someone like Giannis and you stick it into a professional player's hands, where they can take that kit and capitalize on it so well. That's where I see it's so good. And so somebody had actually mentioned this to me. I think it was a Twitter post had said, the adjustments to Giannis were not coming from a competitive scene adjustment. It came from a casual scene, a majority of the scene. Those you guys. Was that you? Was that you? I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Look at you. You're like, oh, it's me.
The pros realize how strong Giannis is. He's getting banned or picked.
Yeah.
Whereas. And it was Chris who said last week about the fact that he's not got a very. They looked at the numbers and realized he's not actually winning the majority of his games.
Yeah.
That he's getting played in, and that's overall that doesn't affect the pro scene. But like we said last week, talking about this buff, in the pro scene, he's just going to be permabanned now.
Oh.
But in casual play, then maybe he'll win a few more games. So it's kind of difficult on what they're going to do with it, really.
I'm eager to see what happens in a week or two when Nuwa can be played in the pro scene, and Giannis is going to be in that mix as well, and Osiris. You have those gods which seem like they're no brainers for auto bans. You're almost filling up your auto ban, starting to fill that up quite a bit, and then it makes it difficult to start to ban out for example what COG Red had to do versus Cognitive with Barracuda and banned out Apollo. You know what I mean? I feel like you start to fill up those bans quite a bit. Was there any surprise bans, Yannick, that you noticed, when you were at the event where you were like, wow, I'm kind of surprised they did that?
Surprise bans? I don't think so much. I mean, I think we expected the bans that we did against us. Surprise bans in the Dignitas versus Snipe game was definitely Loki. Because I know that against Dignitas we didn't ban. I think Snipe was afraid of. Obviously, Last is an amazing Loki player, right?
Yeah,
but there's only so much you can do with the god. That's not very strong, and we didn't see Loki as very strong. And We didn't ban Loki, and it worked out for us. So I think we were pretty surprised to see the Loki bans coming out. Maybe it was the way Loki's plays specifically against the Snipe team, but yeah, that's definitely my surprise ban.
Okay, sweet, for sure, for sure. So I'm trying to think outside of Giannis, another one that we saw, which didn't affect actually the NA tournament this past weekend, was Rom. His Astral Strike slows now stack up to 3 times, changed from a stacking progression to 10% at all ranks, and it now costs 25 mana per shot. So I'll throw this to you, Hindu Man. What have you noticed since this has been implemented with Rom now?
I actually think he's fine right now. Honestly, with that change, I think it's a good change to his mana pool overall. I think his ult may need to come down a little. Oh, actually, no, I'm not sure. Maybe just a touch. His ult needs to come down just a little bit in damage. However, it's not as easy to land when people understand how its mechanics work. You know, it's a lot more difficult to land than because I realized like grinding them up to legendary that I have done. Like I thought it was really easy landing his ult. I'm like, I'm a pro. I can snipe these all day. This is going to be so easy when the pros get hold of it. But when people have played as that god and they understand how how it aims and what they can see, then you can duke it out a little bit more and realize what sort of play you've got around it. So maybe it needs to come down a little touch, but he now needs blue buff like every other hunter.
Yep. That's what I noticed without a doubt.
That's important. But his mana is at just the right sweet spot, I feel, where you have to manage your mana correctly. You can't just spam arrows all day or spam hitting up to attack speed really fast or continue rolling constantly. You actually have to judge what you're doing to make sure, like a lot of the other hunters, make sure you judge your mana pool correctly to make sure it's consistent. So I think he's about equal with Artemis right now. I don't think he's alongside Artemis, I'll say I don't think he's more stronger than Artemis anymore. I think he has great matchups still, against certain gods, but I don't think he's like above and beyond the top tier. He's not above every other hunter. That's how I feel about it anyway.
Okay. And Yannick, what about you? I mean, you of course got the chance, to see Rom played the way he was originally released, just being a mana machine and never really even having to worry about it at the tournament. And what are your thoughts on this adjustment? Do you think it was necessary? From your perspective, what do you think?
I'm really sad I don't get blue buff anymore.
Isn't that nice when you're like, yes, I get it. I can do whatever I can constant cast now.
Yeah, so
didn't you run backers?
not in the LAN, no.
Okay.
Right, so
I played 1 game of Athena and like 8 games of Geb. Yeah.
It's like because one of the teams ran Bacchus Rama and they didn't give Bacchus blue, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I was extremely confused. I think that was Snipe.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, this is really good because they banned away certain gods and stuff. And I was like, yo, this is sick because they're going to give Bacchus blue because they wanted them to pick Geb so they could, first pick Geb so they could get Rama and Bacchus. I was like, that's genius. Now give Bacchus blue and go ham. And they gave Ram blue, and I'm like, what?
I think it's because Allied wants the blue buff, but every other hunter I played just says they don't need it. But maybe he has a specific way of playing with Ram. I don't know. I think the change. A lot of the competitive players have been saying like, Rom's like complete, like being like completely top tier is gone. Like, they're not sure if he's going to be picked anymore. But it could be another one of those situations where, Zonkui was first pick, first ban, and then he got nerfed. Everyone thought he was completely gone, and then eventually he climbed his way back up to, without any changes, he climbed his way back up to getting picked like extremely frequently. So. We'll see how the change works out. We really got to test it out in scrims and see what he can do.
Okay, for sure. Outside that, there were a few little things here and there, but nothing too crazy, to go over. What are your thoughts? I thought I'd ask you, Yannick, what are your thoughts on Serket? Just kind of seeing her as a jungler. I mean, is that what you're seeing her as a jungler at this point? As an assassin, and where do you place her now? I mean, do you think she's pretty balanced? Some people are saying she's too weak. What are your thoughts?
I honestly think that as it usually happens, Hi-Rez like buffs the gods that they think are weak off release. But again, it's like more so people not being used to the god and not being used to how to play the god. So I think Serket's in a good place now. Her 1v1 potential is insane, and come late game, she's going to be extremely good at getting picks, but weaker in team fights. But I definitely think that she's in a good place, and I don't think that they need to buffer her and nerf her.
Okay, sounds good. What about you, Hindu? What are your thoughts on Serket?
totally agree with Yannick on that. I think she's fine where she is. You won't see much of her because she has a very mechanical mindset to really play her very, very well. So you won't really get to see much of it in casual queue. You might see one play, like you'll see, there's always one player in rank that just mains that one god, you know, time and time and time again, and you'll always see it. And Saket is kind of that sort of god where you need really good mechanics with her and understand the hit perfectly, and you'll get some really crisp play out.
Okay.
I think they may, that buff they just did may have been a bit too much. Because that leap is ridiculously far now. For how far she can jump away instantly. Yeah, it just
it's like 65 now, I think, versus 55, which it was before.
I mean, everyone said her mobility was bad, but her 1 was mobility as well. That people forget, and it was on a low cooldown anyway. She could use a 1 to be mobile away. On top of that, she had the 3 that was a kind of a slower leap, but it still gave her some mobility. So maybe they touched it too much. But like Ian said, I think she'll be fine as she is now. I think we'll see her in some tournament play from certain pro players. But I don't think she'll. I don't think she'll, you know, tear up the scene, so to speak, and be picked every single game or perma-banned or anything like that. Probably just, you know, banned against certain players who play very well.
Okay. That's a good point for sure. So let's go ahead, guys, and before we jump in, we'll take some community questions here. Zero Gars finally decides to show up in chat. You know, we highlight him at the top of the show being our streamer of the week. Ionic picked you, by the way. That was his pick for the streamer of the week. Now Zero Gars decides to show up. You know, end of the show. You know, finally available. But what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to take questions from the chat. I am going to go ahead and paste this information in the GoToMeeting link. So if you guys want to go ahead and you guys can go there, there's the username and password to log in. We'll go ahead and just kind of round robin around the table, just kind of find a question that we want to go ahead and go over, and we'll discuss it. So I will go ahead and post in chat if you guys are looking to ask the 3 of us any questions. I know Ionic did quite a large AMA on Reddit earlier today. Was that correct? I'll take that as a yes. I think you're.
Spike's gonna get him.
I know.
My mic is muted. Yeah. Yes, I had a lot of fun doing the AMA, and I had Wi-Fi on my flight actually, so it passed the time really quick, getting to answer everyone's questions.
Alrighty, cool. Well, anyways, guys, ask.fm/thesmiteupdate. Go ahead and you can anonymously just go on there. You don't have to sign up for anything. Go ahead and post a question that you have, and we'll go ahead and discuss them for sure. There was one on there I cleared out. Somebody put in like 35 minutes ago, and I thought I'll ask it to you guys before we go ahead and wait for the questions to roll in. One of the questions was, you know, what do you guys do to fill your spare time? So, Hindu Man, what about you?
What was that? What do I do to fill my spare time?
What do you do to fill your spare time?
Play Smite.
Okay, good for you.
Pretty much. I was like, what do I do? Well, when I'm casting, I'm casting. When I'm not casting, I'm playing. When I'm not playing, I'm sleeping. When I'm not sleeping, I get eyes like this because I'm casting and I'm playing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a circle of life.
Those are your signature eyes though, like the bow tie signature, but same thing with the, you know what I mean, with the eyes, you know.
Yes. I just love chat because every single day, every single time someone says I look like a crack addict or I've got zombie eyes, it's like, yeah, I know. There's nothing I can do about it. The only time they went away was ESL Studios. Like,
because the makeup girl, huh?
Amazing. That makeup chick. Oh my god, I need to marry you.
So, Ionic, what about you? What do you do kind of for your spare time? Is it Smite as well, or do you have other hobbies, or what?
In my spare time, it's mostly Smite and then basketball.
Oh, okay. Okay. Do you play for your high school, or no, just kind of as a casually?
Pretty much just casually. I used to play competitively, but I don't anymore.
Oh, okay. Okay, sweet. Sweet. For me, it's Smite, if not Smite. You know, I've kind of been shifting a little bit more away from streaming during the week in the evenings with Smite and spending more time. I am married and do have a almost 2-year-old son. He's about 19 months or so, so I spend a little bit more time doing that. But do get my Smite in as much as I can during the week, and most of my spare time is just put together prepping the show and stuff like that. So that's how I spend my spare time. So, hey man, you want to go ahead and pick one of these questions here?
I'm trying. What's your favorite food, Yannick? There you go. There's one for you. There's somebody asked.
I'm gonna have to go with either chicken fingers for my casual food, and then sushi for my non-casual.
Is that your competitive food? Is sushi?
Yeah.
And your casual food is.
Like that one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Let's see here. I'm trying to find one. I like this one. Ionic, on a scale of 1 to awkward, how awkward was the Czech presentation?
It was pretty awkward. They didn't really give us too many instructions.
Okay.
So they kind of handed us the check, and then Snoopy was supposed to be in the middle because he was the captain.
Okay.
And what ended up happening was everyone like seemed to not get that memo. So Snoopy kept trying to like get in the middle, and he wasn't. So eventually, I kind of had to grab Boosh and move him over so that Snoopy was in the middle. And then they kind of just like left us there with the check. They didn't tell us to do anything. So the whole time we were holding up the check, I was like, "Are we supposed to be holding this up still?" Or...
Should we be walking off stage? What should we be doing here? Yeah.
What was kind of weird was that I was expecting after our game, they told us to stay put, but we didn't even get to go and shake hands with Dignitas after the game. They just sort of
that's kind of
presented
surprising.
the checks and stuff. So we did shake hands with them, obviously, like afterwards in the players' room and stuff. But that's sort of like a staple that we didn't really have.
I wonder if that was due to time limitations, because the reason I say that is like at the launch tournament, like after a match occurred, like the host, which was like what was his name? Oh my word, he's gonna kill me. Clutch. Clutch ended up like coming out on stage and like recalled upon the teams. The teams went backstage afterwards, then came back on. They walked forward. They shook hands, and then like Clutch kind of like gave a little interview with each like type of deal. So I'm surprised. I wonder if that was like a limitation on time, to be honest with you, which is a shame because I feel like that's always really good sportsmanship. You know, being able to shake hands.
Yeah,
afterwards.
right after the trophy presentation, pretty much they ended the stream. So I would imagine like because usually they'd have like a post game interview or something. But yeah, I would imagine just because of time restraints.
Okay. Sounds good. Yannick, you see any questions you want to answer in here or ask us here that you see in the list?
Yeah, I see one that
Go for it.
that I can answer. It's what is it that made Geb and Athena the top 2 supports, and why has Kumakarna fallen off?
Great question.
So, I don't think Kumakarna was picked once in this weekend, and to be honest, Athena with her global presence as well as the taunt is everything Kumba is and more, pretty much. And the root is the root's all right, and the yawn is obviously very good, but since the yawn duration's been reduced and the yawn radius has been reduced, I think Kumba has sort of fallen off, and unless you sort of build a team around Kumba, sort of like that you can get set up off of his ult and get synergy with some other ults, I really think that Geb Shield, Geb Initiation, you can CC someone with Geb for like 2.5 seconds with his ult and his 2 combo.
That's
and
true.
You can rotate extremely fast with Geb around the map, which is really important. Geb can rotate with his 1, Athena can rotate with her ult. Kuma doesn't really have anything like that, and mobility is such an important part of the game in the current meta. So that's why I think Kuma's fallen off, and why I think Athena and Geb are the top 2.
Here's one I saw which is pretty good, which I'm eager to hear, especially because majority of your team is younger. What was you and your teammates' parents' reactions for winning? Were they at the event? If not, what was it like telling them?
My mom knows what's going on pretty much with the Smite scene. I always tell her like I had this event coming up, all that stuff. So my mom was actually at the event watching.
That's great.
So was Divios' mom, and I think Bush's mom was there as well.
That's awesome.
So,
Team moms, yeah.
My mom was proud, I guess, as you could say, expect a mom to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what's unfortunate for some people is that their parents don't really take esports that seriously or video games that seriously. So maybe if there was something like that on like our team, and they came home with like a $25,000 check or a $5,000 check, as it is for the individual players, they'd be like, wow, this is serious, and they take it more seriously than just, oh, you play that video game too much, go outside, do something,
Yeah, so. No, I think that's great. I mean, I think you're in your situation, for a lot of these pro teams and stuff like that, where they don't have full parental support, depending on it. Unfortunately, it does come down to like them having to win an event and come home or show their parents like, hey, like I just went away for a few days and came home with a $5,000 check. For parents to be like, wow, there actually could be potential here. You know what I mean? My son isn't just wasting his time playing video games. He's actually doing something and making money off of it. Because I think that's a big one, I mean, and not, people, I think it's very hard for people to, like people starting out streaming, just right off the back, starting to stream and be like, oh, this is my full-time job. If you're not a pro player or you're not, someone that's in a situation that has thousands of viewers and you're just starting to stream, it's going to take a long time to be making money off of it. That is profit versus, the amount of time you put into it. So I think in your situation, like, I think that's great. Like, that's what I want to hear and see is just like someone like your age, especially compared to like a 30-year-old or a 25-year-old, someone at your age being out, a parent being able to support that, I think is huge. So I think that's awesome. Did any of the COG Red members or any of the players that you knew of, have parents that you knew of that questioned it, that had a hard time like making scrims or making the event or anything like that?
Well, I know Boosh had some problems because he didn't tell his mom until like the very end.
Oh
like,
my
up to really
word.
close to the event, and she kind of she like when we filled in our information, he put in his mom's email for like getting the information for the event, and his mom got the email before he told her about the event, so she kind of like freaked out, sent Hi-Rez an email freaking out, and we were kind of worried he wasn't able to go, but
Yeah, I can imagine.
when Maddie talked to her actually, and she learned that everything was gonna be fine, she came around, and yeah, so.
Now he knows for next time, right? I mean, that's the big one. If he's concerned, I mean, the nice thing is he has someone like the team manager to lean on to be like, hey, like, here's our team's manager, which is kind of, I guess, kind of hard for some people. Like, think of it, if you're at that age, like, you're not quite, you're not 18 or anything like that, and you have to go to your parents and be like, hey, I play this game a lot, and now I'm being invited to this event to compete for, $25,000. I think it's nice like to have like a team manager available to you where like you can jump on a phone call with the team manager and your parents and be like, listen, like here's our team representative and manager. Now, granted, to a parent, they could be like, it's kind of creepy. Like, this guy wants our kid to come hang out with him. But I think that's great though, that Maddie was available to help out with that. Sucks for Boosh though. That must have been quite a headache last minute for the potential for not being able to go the way he sprung it on his parents though.
Yeah.
Hindu, you see any that you want to go ahead and do?
I'm just roaming through them at the moment out of interest. Like, someone asked me when am I making a Ymir skin for Favor, and I'm like, yeah, because it's on my list of things to do, guys. Make a Ymir skin for Favor.
Yep. There you go.
That sort of show.
There you go.
That sort of show, guys, please. This is some questions you get asked to just like.
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Oh yeah, for sure. So there's one in here. How did you think Dagars did on Thor this weekend?
It was crap.
Gar's
Useless. What a waste of space. I don't even know why they banned it against him.
Yeah, Gar's Thor. What can I say? I'd rather have him have any other jungle than Thor, man. Thor's probably his worst god.
Useless. Absolutely useless. Whole weekend. Don't even know why he's on the team, to be honest. I mean.
Just throw him under the bus.
Didn't see a single play all weekend out of that boy.
Oh man.
Kind of disappointed, Yannick. Kind of disappointed that he's on your team. You need to rethink that one.
Somehow they won though. Somehow they won.
Somehow.
That's
Someone's
right.
back was hurting after that game. I'll put it that way. Still. He played it absolutely amazing.
Yeah, his Thor's unlike anyone else's. I think he plays it so well.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Quite a few questions. Refresh. 52 questions, it looks like. Let's see.
Oh, who would be in your fantasy Smite team? I love that question because I heard Smite Central are actually releasing that fantasy Smite thing soon.
Yeah, I'm waiting for when they do that. That'll be great.
It was so hype. And so I don't really want to say everybody that's on there, but there's a member of COG Red. There's a member of Dig. There's a member of COG. There's a member of TSM.
Why you gotta play the political route? Why can't you just say their names?
No, because
why you gotta play the
political?
Why you gotta
won't win?
Yeah, right.
Think about it. Think about it, if I tell everybody what I'm going to pick, everyone's going to copy me, and then I'm never going to win because we're all going to sat there going, oh well, we've all got the same fantasy draft now. Oh, that's stupid. Come on, Octane. It's competition. But yeah, they're semi-political, but at the same time, yeah, that'd be my fantasy team.
What about okay? Talking about fantasy teams, Yannick. What about you? If you could build, okay, let's say Yannick, you could build the perfect team. You know,
Not allowed to include anyone from Cograd.
Okay.
Because that's always the safe answer these pros go for. I've seen
That's
this
right.
before. Octane, they'll go, oh yeah, just my team. You know.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, nice try.
Yep, that's right. That's right. If you could build it, what would you do? EU and
Should I have everyone from a different team?
Sure, you can have whatever you want, as long as
Your
you.
whole team.
Well, you'd have to be on the team. You'd have to be on the team. You know, as support.
Can I just say all the COG players?
Oh, the political answer.
It's not a political answer. I
But
No, honestly, I used to play on a team with Anenster and Barracuda,
Okay.
and it's such a treat to get to play with. Like, Barra has probably one of the best attitudes in competitive. His play style, it's not as aggressive as the other hunters, but it's really safe. And when I roam as a support, I always know that I can rely on him to stay alive. Andy, probably the best shot caller in the game, and yeah. So, you know what? I'll go with those two players from COG, and then if I have to pick the players from other teams, I'd probably go with. Do I pick a support as well, or am I going to be the support for this?
Well, if you don't think you'd be the that's up to you.
are you good enough? I mean, you've only won the NA regional.
I know, right?
So,
As of right now, you could be called the best support NA. You know, I mean.
technically, yeah.
All right, I'll put myself on there as a support.
Wow, over Jeff. Wow. Those shots you just fired now. Oh, I love this show. Really? You think you're better than Jeff now, Yannick? Woo, baby.
Well, you will have to say, you know, his team did beat them hands down first series. Everyone loves Jeff's hair, but I mean, come on now.
For the mid lane, I'd probably go with Lobster in middle. He's really consistent. And for solo, I think I'd probably go with Game Hunter.
Oh yeah, that was my pick as well. He's What are you smiling over there? What are you smiling about?
I was going to pick Game Hunter. It's like the safe solo way to go. It was like Game Hunter. Just pick Game Hunter. Carlsley. His goal per minute is just ridiculous.
You know, I was thinking about ADC, and you know, naturally I navigate towards like Zapman or Barracuda, but like from what I saw with Reels, I feel like I have to go over to Reels right now for ADC. I don't know. So let's go ahead and find some more questions here. What do you think, Hindu?
I wasn't looking, so
let's see. Let's see what else we got here.
Oh, I always seem to read the ones that make me want to punch the screen. Like,
you're right.
how viable is Sun Wukong now in solo and support since they buffed him? Yannick, have you played Sun Wukong since the change?
I haven't. You know who has been playing Sun Wukong is Wolfie.
Wolfie, yeah.
And he's been doing extremely well with it in ranked games.
Of course he does.
Yeah, in the jungle, yeah. Has it just been jungling or soloing it as well, do you know? I've seen him jungle it, but I don't know if he's soloed it too.
I think it's just been jungle, but Divios has also been talking about with the mana nerf on his 2, Sun Wukong's going to come back as well.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see how he fits in with the new change. I think definitely we'll be trying him out and picking him.
I don't think he'll fit support. Do you? I mean, like with the support meta right now, I don't think he fits into it anymore.
Yeah,
with the chaser bust as well, you know, like with it being a slow, not a stun. Sorry,
yeah, and they took away that interrupt, and as well, like what made him so powerful, especially now that the hunters, well, some of them do Heartseeker, some of them do Devo gloves, but that magic cudgel poke, not only has the damage been reduced, but the hunters also have lifesteal now. So
yeah,
that's true. That's a good point. I think it could be solo or jungle. Like I know Wolfie was doing a lot of jungle, but I always thought he might have potential in solo with the change in the mana cost. So.
There was a question here. I'll read the question, but I'm going to reword it. It says, we know that both Dig and COG pay their players. What about COG Red? I'm not expecting an answer there, but I want to reword that with a discussion of what are your thoughts on you know, I know for a fact like there's quite a few teams out there with very heavy player contracts for sure. I know Cognitive is one of them with player contracts because of the fact of just the background that David Fry has within like the soccer scene, football for you EU people.
Yes.
How did player contracts affect you as all being minors? I mean, did that you know, was that rough? You know, kind of like we talked about with travel. Did that become difficult with some parents and stuff like that?
Not so much difficult with my parents
Okay.
signing the contract, and I don't think my teammates had too much trouble signing contracts either. So contracts, I mean, if you have a good relationship with your team and you want to switch rosters or something like that, like for example, I think all the COD guys, we all adore David Fry, and David Fry is really, really good to the players. So we have a good relationship, and I'm sure that while that's not the case, if one of us wanted to leave or if someone on COG wanted to leave, he'd let us out of our contract.
Yeah.
No problem, no hard feelings. So I'm not sure if that's going to be the same way, because you know how in like contracts for like everything, even business, there's like a non-compete in there where you know you're with us for this amount of time. You can't play for any other team in this amount of time, and if you don't want to play for us, you can't play for anyone else. You can't play against us, right? So I'm not sure how that affects the other teams, but for us, I don't think it'd be a problem.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's, you know, I think you hit it there too. Like, it comes down to your relationship with your team for sure. So I think that's a really good point. And you know, player contracts are becoming more and more popular with some of the larger teams that are out there with the sponsors and stuff like that. You know, they're a big deal for sure. I mean, you know, something we didn't really touch on at all when we were talking about the NASPL was after the EU kickoff LAN, we saw a ton of roster changes. Any expectations that you guys think that we might see with NA now? I mean, after this event? No, Hinduman saying no. What do you think, Chaotic?
Besides the dig roster change, I think everyone's happy with. I mean, dig had a roster change, Snipe had a roster change. Both us and Cog are very happy with our rosters right now. So I'm really excited to see what Weekend can do, and I think Shing has a lot of potential.
Yeah, Weekend played really well as well for Snipe. So
I think Snipe.
I don't see that changing.
I think Snipe has a higher ceiling with Weekend.
Do you think now I might get some hate mail for this, but do you think the lack of roster changes out of NA versus the EU is because of the fact of there's maybe some more bigger egos over in the EU scene? I mean, because we saw a lot of roster changes with EU, quite a bit. I mean, just with like Cloud9. I mean, just to the point where team disbands. I mean, stuff are almost to a degree there. I mean, you know, after the NA event, I kind of feel as comfortable as you guys do with saying that. You know, being like, I don't see anything crazy going on. Or do you think it was just like the timing just worked out with EU and that's why it occurred?
In NA, it happened with not the top 4 teams.
We'll play in.
Five Angry Men have had a lot of switches up in their roster changes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're going different ones as well. So 5am, like your sort of pro switcheroos all happened from 5am, whereas in EU it kind of all happened with Cloud9. But now that Cloud9, split apart, then people have picked up, the table scraps of Cloud9 to extend it into different teams.
Yeah.
Like 2 members are with one team, another member's with another team, and the others are still on Cloud9. So
sure.
I think you did get the same sort of roster changes in NA, but I just think it happened to a lower down team than the top 4. That's why it's so big, really.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Because I know, like 5am paid Divion, Mace of the Face, they've both gone. Paid Divion's now Exposed Secrets, so he switched over to EU. Mace of the Face, I'm not sure what he's doing, and then Wolfie's in charge now of 5am, and it's gonna, things can change in there as well. So.
Sure.
I think it was just so much, roster changes to an extent across the scene.
No,
which is good.
That's a good point.
It's expected in downtime, honestly, in like off season as this technically is. You expect to see some roster changes on some teams, so.
That's a good point. All right, so why don't we take 2 more questions here, and then we'll go ahead and round things out for the show. Yannick, you want to pick one, and Hindu, you want to pick one? Whoever finds one first, just go with it. Let's see here.
Strength of EU and NA scene. Let's go with that one.
Okay.
I'd like your, Yannick, what's your opinion on EU and NA scene? Like, what do we think about who's stronger or weaker?
Well, strengths
I'm not
overall.
Gonna bum, just to be clear, I'm not going to bum EU just because I'm from EU. I just like to make that clear because it seems to come across sometimes that I do that, but I just feel like I have to support my region, but still, you know.
I think, in my opinion, before this NA LAN, I would have said that I think Dig and Cog are much stronger than the European teams. But on LAN, everything changes, really. So,
Good point.
like especially in TSM, while in the launch tournament, they didn't drop a game, and then they lost to Team Coast in their opening set. So, really, right now, I think anything can happen, and it just comes down to the event and whether the team rises to the occasion or not. I will say that I think, as far as online, like if we could have them both like in the same region or whatever,
Sure.
I will say that I think North America is a stronger region.
I mean, for me, I'd have to say, just I'm talking about strengths in general. I feel, EU to me, I really get the feel that it is they play quite a little bit more conservatively in some manner, but they also have with that is a strength. I feel like same thing with I feel like EU does develop some interesting metas that kind of surprise people, especially that came out of like the EU LAN event as well. That is definitely a strength there. Sometimes just to me, I feel like the NA scene is a little more aggressive, which I feel like is definitely a strength there. It can sometimes be, a weakness without a doubt. But from my point of view, I feel like, with gameplay style, I feel it's a little bit more aggressive. And that's why I say that. What about you, Hindu?
I think it's really close. Really, really close. I think EU still take it. Honestly.
Okay.
And I hate saying that because you both went NA and I went EU. It's like, yeah, we just did this divide because I'm from EU guys and from NA. But
well, no, for me, I mean, I don't pick one scene over another. I'm just saying, like, that's just the strengths.
I think the
that I'm
scenes are really
saying.
close. What I think the strengths are, in terms of like really, really top tier teams right now, I think there's 5 teams in NA and 7 teams in EU that are potentially fighting and scrapping all the time, to have shots at it. That's how I kind of feel.
Yeah.
Right
So,
now.
you mean like quality of the scene, or as far as like my top team in NA will beat your top team in EU? Like,
I think just quality of the scene overall. I think EU has.
I would give it to you as well for quality of the scene.
Yeah.
I think 1v1. Well, if we, do you know what we need to do, Ian, to settle this? All stars, right?
Yeah, we
NA
talked
pick their
about that.
5 best,
We talked about
right? EU picked their 5 best, and we just settle this.
Well,
in a LAN.
That's what happens
Yeah.
after. I mean, that I feel like that is something that happens after the World Championship in January. Like it's kind of like what you do during that downtime type of deal. Because like I feel like with Smite, we're now looking at almost like these seasons where like this entire season going on that we've been working through entirely, qualifiers, everything till the end of Smite World Championship. That's like a season to me. And then we have a little bit of downtime that'll occur. I feel like that's perfect. Like I love to see Hi-Rez like a month after Smite World Championship be like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and we're asking. And what I'd like to see is I'd like to see the community, them go ahead and put up a giant voting system for like 30 days, and the community determines who is on each all-star team with the voting. You know what I mean?
I think the community should have some input, but then
Yes.
some the pros from the scene should have input as well.
No, that'd be great.
They get an input into it as well, so that
Yeah.
you actually get the pros mentality. Like, well, even though everybody loves this person in the scene, he might not be the best player to represent them.
No, that's very true. That's very true.
League of Legends do it League of Legends do it where they do All Stars once a year, and the scene that wins gets an extra spot at Worlds. Yeah.
Oh,
so
look
it
at
gets
that.
really competitive. It gets so competitive because everyone's like, "Yo, we want NA to win." I will sit out and let this other hunter go because I know he's ever so slightly better than me.
Sure, sure.
But the scene as a whole gets a new spot, so I think that's so hyped.
Well, it would be cool if they did an All Stars like type of kind of like what they did with like NA and EU, where it's like a day long type of tournament. I think that would be appropriate. But it'd be cool if they integrated where a lot of like other sports do, where like it's to benefit a charity, per se. So like that's how it's tied in. Like the players go, they don't really win anything, but it's all like the prize pool goes to a charity and it's just for fun. So it's a little bit more, I don't know. Yannick, what do you think of something like that after the World Championship? Do you think that would be valuable for the scene?
Yeah, I think an All-Star game would be a lot of fun. Definitely, it would be like a super hype game. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the voting should be less of a popularity contest. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have
I
some
agree.
input from the pros. I mean, still give the community a fraction of the decision, but to prevent it from being a popularity contest, we got to have some other input in there.
That'd be so good. I mean, just settle it once and for all, and then when it comes around to the next one in a year's time, then everyone can go, it gets refreshed over and over again. So for that year, that region gets bragging rights, They can always just look back and go, well, you may have won Worlds, but did you win EU versus NA? I don't think so. I think we've got the better players, And then it just settles these little arguments about who's got the better team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun. I think
I'm
it'd be a lot
hyped
of
for
fun.
stuff like that. I think
Yeah.
it's so good for the scene overall. And then we can have troll stars as well.
Troll
where we take
stars.
the best 5 well-known trolls from each scene and pit them against each other and just see what meta they create. That'd be so good too.
Well, I think the All-Stars too would be fun.
Cloud versus Cloud.
Yeah,
Cloud
right.
versus Cloud, the dream.
The All-Star stuff would be fun too, because then you get like, you could even at that same event could do like a celebrity team as well involved in stuff, where it's just like a bunch of casters and stuff like that. Like that type of stuff I think is fun too. Like during that event, like to add in fun stuff, with that.
Exactly.
Is always a lot of fun too. I mean, they did some stuff like that at the launch tournament where they brought in like some of the big YouTube individuals, which I think was great. But like creatures and stuff like that. And I understand why they did it from a marketing perspective and stuff. But like I would have rather have seen like hey, a bunch of casters going on versus like stuff like that. I think that'd be like, I would love to see a caster versus caster type of matchup just for fun, even if it's just streamed. I think it'd be a ton of fun. Hindu, put it together, man. Put it together.
It'd be boring. I'd win. And then
You'd win.
Realize DM's not as good as he thinks.
Oh, look at you calling him out.
Call him out. I'm not scared. Hindu's only been playing since February. He still beats DM. See, that's what happened. Realistically, it's just the truth.
All right.
Just the truth.
All right. I get it. I forget. Yannick, did you have a question as well, or did you already read it? I can't recall. Did you find one?
I was looking for a question, and then I forgot.
Okay, that's fine.
Supposed to look for a question.
No problem. It's all right. We'll go ahead and round things out. There's 60 plus questions we didn't get to. Not expected to as well. But guys, we are going to go ahead and close out the show for today. Special thanks to Hindu Man and also Yannick for coming on. It was interesting. I was debating on doing a show today because like F. isn't here, and there's a lot of people that aren't around because they were coming back from Atlanta. And so I like posted on Twitter. I was like, oh, looking for some people. Like Yannick hits me back like right away, and I was like, perfect. I was like, on the winning team and everything, so it worked out really well. But once again, guys, if you guys want to check out the VODs for the show, it will be available on YouTube, youtube.com/TheSmiteUpdate, as well on iTunes and also on the Android platform as well. The audio-only version on there, the video version, of course, on YouTube. So make sure you guys go check it out. If you're big into podcasts or need something to listen to, make sure that you guys do, check it out. Look up Smite Update as well. Special thanks to Hi-Rez Studios for allowing the show to air on their channel, twitch.tv/SmiteGame. It'll be every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Today we started a little bit late because of Tier Monster there. Also, jumping back to the audio audience, to the people that have given us 5-star reviews on there. I didn't realize at first that there were like different iTunes stores depending on the country. And then once I started to go through and look at the different countries for like the Smite Update, I noticed the different 5-star reviews. So thank you to everyone who's left us 5-star reviews. That helps Smite Update be the top podcast out there in the scene. I know there isn't a lot right now, but it's nice to be able to say like, hey, like this show is the top one right now, at least rated on iTunes. So that's always great to see. Before we go ahead and head out, I'll throw it over to Hindu Man. Hindu Man, where can people check you out when you're not here?
On my channel, Twitch, Hindu Man, on Twitter, The Hindu Man, and on YouTube. Got a YouTube channel now.
Woo!
Yeah. I feel bad because FG is the boy for YouTube, but I'm gonna promote this because it's
That's
just
right.
bringing. I think it's Hindu Man. Yeah, let's go Hindu Man. I think it is the YouTube channel. It's just for Conquest. So if you guys want to learn about Conquest, I've been putting videos up there that I've been doing on the Twitch channel of teaching basics of Conquest, like roles and such. I'm having a couple of the EU guys, the EU pros, come on now and again to ask questions and answer questions and review some EU games as well. So.
Sweet.
That's where you can find me, and that's that stupid toga email that's in chat. That you keep seeing. That's what I'm really doing. One of my viewers decided to make a Bacchus drawing, and it looks god awful. And I thought I'm gonna make it into a mod as a joke, so into an emote, and it looks even worse there now. So
It does. It really does.
it needs to go badly, but my channel in it. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Yannick, what about you? Where can people check you out when you're not a guest here on Smite Update?
You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/cog_Yannick. And then I'm going to be streaming a lot more now that I'm going to be getting my new computer. So probably like every day, and it's going to be awesome. So you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Yannick. And then also, I just did an AMA on Reddit, and I'll still be answering questions if you guys have any more questions to ask me on Reddit. So if you guys go check that out, if you want to permit me Octane, I can paste it in there.
Yep, we'll do that for you.
Yeah, so I just did an AMA on Reddit. If you guys have any more questions to ask me, I can answer them. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Excellent, excellent. Well, guys, of course, you can always find me, Octane Pro, SCII. Buddha is posting that, the moderator, in chat for you guys. Twitter, YouTube, and also on Twitch. Please stay tuned. The Smite Talk show will be coming up next with myself and FG3000. Very relaxed, casual setting show where we take calls, just like a typical radio station does, where we will take calls from you guys, answering any questions, comments. We have quite a few topics to talk about, but you guys can call in and ask about anything. If you want to ask, why is Yannick the best NA support, we can talk about that. If you want to talk about why Hindu Man's hair looks so good, we can talk about that as well. So feel free to go ahead and call in. Stay tuned for the details on how to do that. You can call in via your computer using the program Raid Call, and that will be between now and 10 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for Smite Talk from myself, Yannick, and Hindu Man. Thank you guys very much for joining us. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.